Okay, class. So today we are going to start with a new topic. Okay, we are going to work with databases. Okay, so in the last session we covered data visualization with Matplotlib. Okay, in the last to last session when we covered pandas. Okay, so we saw that like we can read data whenever you want to read data in our pandas. Okay, we can read from multiple sources. We can read from Excel file also. We can read from CSV file also. Okay, suppose we already have some data inside the Python memory, so we can typecast that data. Okay, maybe it is in list format or maybe dictionary format. So you can typecast that data into your data from format. That can also be done. Okay, so that is we have studied so far. Next topic that we need to cover is your database with pandas. Okay, in this topic we're going to cover in this topic we're going to read the data, okay, which is present inside a SQL file, okay, SQL file. Okay, now what is SQL class? What is SQL? Let us understand it. Whenever we are talking about data, okay, so there is one more term that come into picture that is called as database. Okay, now what is database class? Database is basically it is a storage area where we can store large amount of data. Okay, it is a remote. It can be present inside our computer also. It can be present remotely also. Suppose let's say I am saving some data inside Google Drive. Okay, so you can call that Google Drive is a database. Okay, you're storing some data in let's say OneDrive. Okay, so you can say that okay Google your that also your OneDrive is also okay your OneDrive is also database. Now, in Google Drive, the type of files that we store are basically your TXT file. You can store audio file, maybe or Python file, maybe or some let's say or some video file, okay, or some document file you can store right in Google Drive. But here inside database, when we talk about database, proper database, then we can store your images also. We can store files also. We can store folders also. We can store images, your audio files, your video files, your document files. Okay, and apart from this, we can also store general simple string data also, string or integer data or boolean data, okay, or float data also we can store. That is what is your database. Now, I'm going to show you a simple database first. So for that class, we need to install one particular software in our computer called as DB browser. Called as DB browser. You can simply Google, okay, and install it from the internet. Simple. It is a very lightweight software which is used for your SQLite. Okay, I will explain what SQLite is. Okay. Install a browser to work on. Okay, now class C. Whenever we are working on database, so database itself has its own language. Okay. Now see, databases are majorly divided into two types. Okay, there is your SQL databases. Okay, SQL databases are basically those databases in which the data is present in tabular format. Okay, and second is your NoSQL databases in which the data is stored in non-tabular format, such as it can be stored in tree format, okay, or maybe your graph format, or maybe it can be if you simply are writing something inside Notepad. So that is also your data present inside a Notepad is also your NoSQL format. Okay. So now class, when we say SQL, okay, SQL means sequential query language, or we also say structured query language. So what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? Whenever you want to do some task on the database, okay, there are multiple operations, there are multiple tasks that we can do. I will explain that in a while. Okay, so whenever you want to do any operation, you have to do that using a separate language called as SQL, structured query language. Okay, now here class, in this topic, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to use SQL code inside Python. We are going to write SQL code inside Python. There is a way of doing that also. Okay, so once you install DB browser in your computer, okay, so let me open it. DB. Okay, so you can see it will look like this. Simple. Okay. Now class, I am going to create an empty database. I am going to create an empty database right now. Okay, here only. Let's say I will create here. Let's say testing, and I will save it. Okay, so here you can see the same folder. There will be a file called as testing. Okay, created at 6:42. Okay, that means now. Okay, so this is your database class. Okay, now what I'm going to do? This is your database. Now class, inside a database, we store data in SQL database. We store data in tabular format. We store data in tabular format. So here it is asking us to create a table. We can press cross also. Okay, because we are going to do everything. We are going to do everything using your Python. Each and everything can be done using your Python. How? I will cancel it for now. Okay, so you can see it is writing table 0 right now. There is 0 table in this. We will go here. Okay, and we will create a database from R. But before that, after class, I was talking about operations, different operations that we need to do on the database. So, majorly, whenever we talk about any kind of database at all, there are four major operations that are there called as CRUD. Okay, CRUD, however you pronounce CRUD operations. So what are they? There is your create, is read. Create means it means saving some data inside the database, putting some data inside a database. Data is not there. They're adding some data to the database. That is your create. Then read means the data is already there and you're reading the existing data. The data is already there in the database. You are reading it. Is read. Then the next is your update. So suppose you already have some data, but you want to update some value. And suppose you are storing marks of different students in different subjects in a particular college. Okay. So now you want to update the marks of some XYZ student in some XYZ subject. Okay. So there you can use update. Okay. Then next is your delete. These four operations are plus. There are many more operations are there. Okay, but these four, okay, are basically the base of database. Okay, these are the most important operations out there. So let's continue. I'm going to use them, implement them on the. Okay, first we will write here first import SQLite 3. Okay, so this is an additional external module. Okay, so we have importing it. Okay, now class simple command, simple related connection. Okay, so SQL.connect will do import SQL create SQL. Okay, I've renamed it. Then connect IMC class right now. See, this is a separate database. This is a separate database. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a connection between them. I'm going to make a connection between them. The name of the file was your testing.db, right? So I will mention here testing.db. Testing. And then plus we need to create a pathway between them. So you can write here connection dot cursor. Okay, basically this will create a pathway between them. As you can see, there is no error so far. It means connection has been established. Okay, now class we will create a table. The first operation, create a table. Okay, so first we need to write the command class. Okay, so you write here create table employee. First we'll create ID column. Okay, now class, what is the meaning of primary key? Primary key is basically the key, okay, which is basically used to access the whole record or whole row of the particular table. Okay, suppose let's say you are in a class, okay, in a college. Okay, so what happens, like for example in a particular class, okay, if a teacher comes and he is calling a person's name. Okay, so there is in that, what is the problem? There is a possibility that two people or more than two also might be having the same name. Okay, so this will create confusion. Okay, but instead of this, what we do, if you want to pinpoint a particular student, then we will use roll number instead of name. If you want to pinpoint a particular student, then you are going to use roll number instead of name. Okay, so that is what your primary key is. Primary key is basically unique for each and every data record, each and every row. Okay, row means row and data record are same for each and every data record in the whole.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I'm sorry for the disturbance. Sir, yesterday we didn't attend the class because of our college. We were having college at the time. So, sir, you didn't uploaded the video footage in the classroom, sir.
Okay, we will have upload to them for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so what I was saying, that whenever we are working on this, okay, so primary key is going to be unique for each and every row or each and every data record in the whole table. Okay, that is your primary key. So I am taking ID here. See, when we are creating the table, at that time we have to set that which one of them is going to be ID, which one of them is going to be your primary key. So I am setting ID. Okay, it is totally up to us which you want to set. Then comma. Okay, I will take the name. The name can be varchar. Varchar means variable character. Variable character. Okay. Now, when you write varchar and then you write here, let's say 30. So varchar 30 means that means that the length of the name, the length of the name is going to be variable. It's not going to be variable, but the maximum length is going to be 30. Maximum length is going to be 30, not more than that, but it can be variable. That means from 0 to 30 it can lie. From so not sorry from 1 to 30 it can be anything. Okay, then let's continue. So EMPC, create table EMP means here I am creating a table called as employee. So I'm taking the ID, maybe employee ID I'm taking name of the person. Let's say I am taking the, let's say gender maybe. I am taking the gender of the person. Gender again, Okay, enter will be your, we can write here char 1. Char 1 means that we are basically, it is not a variable char. It is char 1 means a single character. That's it. Either M for male, F for female, O for others. Okay, we have to specify here. Okay, the next is your, we can maybe mention joining date. Okay, so we'll write here joining. Date. Okay, semicolon, and then, so this is your whole command class. This is the whole. See, this is your SQL code. Okay, this, the code that we have written here is your SQL code. This is how we create table inside a particular database. Suppose if you want to check it yourself, you can just copy it. You can copy the whole command. Okay, and you can run the command here also. See, in this case, this is an option of execute SQL. So you can mention the whole code here. Whole code I can mention here. See, automatically it is changing color, right? And here I can run it from here. So if you run it, it will automatically create the table. I'm not running it from here class. I have to show you from Python first. Okay, so I have created the command, and then we have to execute this command. We have to execute this command. So you'll write here cursor. See, first we made a connection. Okay, using the connection we created a bridge. Okay, we created a bridge. Okay, between your Python code and your database. Okay, now we are going to execute a particular query for the data on the database. Okay, this is a query. This is called as query. Query command, same thing. Okay, then I will write here cursor dot execute. Execute what? Tab command. If you want, you can write this whole string here also. That will also work. Okay, you will execute it. Okay, and whenever you execute, remember class, you have to commit also and close also. Commit and close. So write here connection dot commit. What commit means that means you are saving the changes in the database. So you executed the table command. Okay, after execution, see, your command will execute obviously. Okay, it will get executed, but whatever changes are being done due to that command will not get saved. Will not get saved inside the database. That is why we have to commit them separately. Okay, and then we can, once we are done with it, we can close the connection. Connection dot close. Here you can see class right on the database table 0 it is showing. Okay, but if I run this code, as soon as the commit close thing, okay, I will run. Okay, it is run successfully. Now here you can see class in the database. If I come here, okay, come here. Okay, sorry. Let me open the database also. Testing. So you can see here table 1 show it is showing EMP. The table that we just created. See, if I delete the table, I have deleted it. Table 0. Testing DB it is showing. Okay, and then I will go to the code and run it again. So now here you can see class. I refresh. So it is showing you tables 1, EMP. Okay. Now if you want to see, this will be an empty table right now. If you want to see, this will be an empty table right now. How you can see? You can go here. You can see table. Select the table EMP, and you can see it is empty right now. 4 columns have been created, but the table is empty. Okay. So this is your class. First command that we saw, create. Okay, create the table. Okay, now inside the table we are going to insert data. That also comes under the creation only. Okay, first create means putting data, okay, inside the data base table. Okay, so we created the table. Now we are going to insert some data inside the table. How? For that we'll again take this. Okay, obviously we'll need to open the connection. We'll open the connection. Next is your class. Data. Data. Okay, how to do that? Simply you will write here cursor dot execute, and then here see either C class, either you can write the command separately, okay, and then put it here as a variable, okay, or you can directly pass data here also, same thing obviously. So now we'll write here class insert into, insert into kisme, insert into EMP. In the EMP table we have to mention the table name. Class, remember that a single database can have many tables, can have multiple tables, as many as you want. Okay, depending on how much data you need to save, what kind of data it is, we can easily divide the data in different tables so as to make it structured. Insert into EMP, and then values, you will write here values. Okay, first thing, remember class, the first topic that we need to mention is your ID. So that's why I mention the ID as 1. Okay, then comma, then name we have to mention. Let's say we'll mention the name as Surya. Okay, and then we have to mention the gender. Let's say we'll mention male, and then we have to mention the joining date. Suppose I'm mentioning the joining date as 2014 03 28. This is the whole joining date class. I will run this code. Okay. Right now here you can see class. Right now the table is empty. Okay, but once I commit, and close, okay, so then what will happen? If you go here and we refresh, so you can see whatever data we inserted. Surya M, okay, 2014 3 28 28th March 2014. The whole data will get saved here. The whole data got saved here. So first we created a table using Python code. Okay, then inside the same table we inserted some data. Okay, so this is basically your part of your first operation, that is your create. The first operation that we saw. Okay, in the CRUD. Next operation is your class read operation. Okay, data is already there. Data is already there. You just want to read it. Okay, before doing that, I will add some more data here. Let's add some more data. So we will have something to read now. So once we already done 2. Enter let's say Nitish. And then let's say mention here 2013 maybe. So one command plus one command. Let us take one more command here. As I'm just right now randomly putting some data here. Randomly, there is no any particular way or reason. Okay. So if I run this code, okay, and then I commit close. Okay. What will happen is in this case, you can see in the database right now there is single data record only. But if I go back here and if I run this code, okay, and then if I go back here and I refresh, you can see two more data points got added to the database. Are you understanding this class, everyone? Are you getting this, everyone, class so far? Okay, so let's continue now. Next is your read data. Read data from database. How it works, class? How it works? First, create the connection, obviously. First, create the connection you have created. And then here you have to read. Okay. Cursor.execute. Just select star from EMP. What is the meaning of star, class? When we write select star from EMP, it means whatever data is there inside that particular database, all will get readed into your Python memory. All the data. Star means all the data. Whatever is there from EMP, and then after this, R is equal to cursor dot fetch all. For X in R, print X. If I run this code here, you can see first, it is printing all the data about all the three people that is data there in the database. Okay, in that sequence only 1, 2, 3. Okay, Surya, Nitish, Harshil, MMM. Okay, and all the dates also of each and every person. Are you getting this, class, everyone, or not? and then we will simply close the connection. So this is the read data. Next topic is update data. How it is done, we will simply write here. First, obviously, we will open the connection. Okay. So here, in this case, class, we'll write a cursor dot execute. Now, what is the command? Command is update command. Simply update emp set. So I want to set updater name. Set name. Basically, the name column. Name column we took name column and then equal to. Basically, what we're doing, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to we're trying to update the value of a particular data record. Okay, so we're basically saying that wherever in the whole data set, wherever there is a, let's say name, we will mention Rahul maybe. Okay, or Rahul is through name, let's say mention Surya. So wherever there is Surya in the name column, it's 1%, 2%, 3%, does not matter. Wherever there is Surya in the name column, in the okay, no, so sorry. We are doing something else here. I'm trying to show here where ID equal to the ID is equal to 1. I will say it in class, okay. Wherever there is ID 1, wherever the ID is equal to 1, wherever the ID is equal to 1, I want to convert the name into, let's say Rahul. Here you can see Surya is already there. The name is already Surya, but I will mention here, let's say maybe Rishikant. So what is the meaning of this? Wherever there is ID equal to 1, obviously in our case it is single. It is going to be single data record only where the ID is going to be 1. Okay, but I am giving an example that similarly we can take anything other than this also. Okay, now if we run this code, we will run this code and then we will close the connection. Close the connection. Here in the database, Surya is there. Now if I refresh it class, so you can see now it is showing Rishikant. It's showing Rishikant here. So wherever there was ID 1, obviously in a single column only, a single row only. But when there is ID equal to 1, do this task. Change the name to Rishikant. Suppose I am saying that whenever the gender is, let's say gender is female. Okay, so I am saying whenever the gender is female, so automatically put, let's say traveling charges equal to 0, let's say. Let's say traveling charge is equal to 0. Okay, whenever gender equal to F, okay, traveling charge is equal to 0. Okay, and whenever there is M, traveling charge is equal to whatever you want to put. Okay, and then from there you can make a table. You can build a table also, you can make a table also. Okay, that is your bit command class. Okay, class. So let's continue now. Okay, once you're done this, you have to make sure that every time you close the connection every time. We closed it earlier now, so that is why it is showing this. The connection, then I will. Next is the class delete command. Delete or the this is next class. How it is done? Let us see that. Again, obviously, we'll open the connection. If this is done, then we will delete. How we will write here cursor dot execute. Then delete from Empc where ID is equal to 3. Here you can see class there is ID 3 also present. ID 3 also is present here. Let ID 3. Now I am seeing that wherever there is ID 3, okay, delete that particular record. So if you run this code and then we commit in tools, commit in tools. Now if you go to database class here, if I refresh, you can see 1, 2, 3. 3 IDs are there. Now if I refresh, only 2 IDs will be left because we have deleted one. Okay. So class, this is about a database with Python. Database with Python normally. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take a data set, okay, and save it inside your SQL format. We're going to take a data set present in maybe SQL file or present in maybe your CSV file or your Word file maybe or maybe PowerPoint file, Excel file or whatever. So we're going to read data from there. Okay, and then we are going to put the data inside the SQL table completely. Okay, so how do we do that, class? How do we do that? Simply, we will import first. Import pandas as import pandas as PD. We're importing. So it is done importing. Okay, then class we're going to read some file. Basically, we need data, na? If you're going to save some data inside a SQL file, in a SQL database, obviously you will need some data in your computer also for that, in your Python memory also for that. So first we're going to read data. How? We'll write here nba is equal to pd dot read underscore csv. It is already present in the same folder nba file. And then we will write here nba dot csv. You can see the whole data is now present here. We will simply write here first. We will simply mention here nba dot to underscore sql. Okay. And the table name class. We are going to store a table. Remember, you are going to store a table in the database. Okay, so you first need to give a table name here so that an empty table can be created. Suppose I am giving the name as new nb to the table. Then we make the connection. What is connection class? Connection is already this that we made earlier. This is a must. These two lines are a must, remember. Okay. We'll run this. Working fine. Now here, if you come here, class, and it's so true database structure. So now it is showing you two tables. Earlier it was showing EMP only. Now it is showing you new MB also, and in the new MB you can see all the data records, data there in the CSV file are now present here. All of them are present here. Now, what you can do? See, we know how to read data from some other file, okay, and save the data inside the SQL code. Okay, that we have seen. Okay, next is your if the data is already there in the SQL database, how to read it? How to read it? For that class, we'll write here and BA we have taken. Okay. We'll open the connection and then we'll write here df is equal to pd dot read underscore SQL underscore query. Okay, now class, we saw 5 queries so far. We have seen a query for creating table, inserting table, okay, reading data, okay, deleting data and updating data. We have seen 5 queries so far, and you can run any of them here. Whatever you want to run, you can run any of them here. But right now, we're going to read some data from the database and store the whole data from the data frame into the Python memory inside the df variable. So I will write here select star from EMP. Sorry, from new MB. So whatever data is there in the new MBA table in the database, it will get stored in BF database. Here you can see DF. Same thing. All the rows, whatever was there inside your tabular format are now getting printed on the screen. Okay. So far class, I have explained multiple sources. I have shown you CSV, how to read data from CSV. I have showed you how to read data from Excel. Excel is basically your Excel assets. I have showed you how to read data from your txt file. how to read data from basically typecasting between your dictionary and data frame, list and data frame. Okay, and then SQL. And one more thing I showed you, internet. CSV file on internet. Okay, that is it. From this places we have already known. We already know how to bring data from. Okay, so SQL also we have covered class. Now next there is a very small topic. Let me just try. Okay, we can I guess complete today also. It's a very small topic. Class. There is a file format present, separate file format. See, there are different file formats, right? The .txt is there, .doc, .pdf. Okay, so again, then in video formats also there is mp4, .avi, .webp. Okay, then there is your like other file formats also present. Similarly, here also whenever we are storing data, so file formats are different. There is a CSV file format. Okay, there is a XLSX file format from where we can read data, or there can be present in .txt file format also. Now there is another file format present called as JSON, okay, which is your Java script object notation, which is used for JavaScript object, in which the data is present in JSON format. Let me show you how it looks like. Okay, see, this is your JSON data. This is your JSON. See, let's say orders. Okay, so inside orders there will be order number, there will be date, tracking number, customer ID, and customer. Now again inside customer there is more data. Customer ID, F name, L name, address, city, state, zip. Okay, so multiple things you can see that is present in a JSON file. Okay. Now whenever we are working on JSON file, we need to import a file format called a module called as JSON. Import JSON. Now two functions are there. There is JSON.load. Okay, JSON.load. Okay, basically deserialize, supporting file like object containing JSON format to a Python object. Suppose if you want to get data from a JSON file and store it in Python readable format, for that JSON.load is used. Otherwise, JSON.dump is used. Okay, dump is basically for what? Serialize object as a JSON formatted string. Okay, supporting file like object. All right. Okay. What is the meaning of this? Suppose if you want to, there is some data present in your computer. Okay, there is some data present in your computer, okay, and you want to store that inside a JSON file. So for that, your JSON.dump is used. Suppose class you have a dictionary with you. First name, let's say I will mention here. So let's suppose you have maybe city. Let's say Pune. Let's say you have score 45. Okay, so this is your dictionary class. This is your dictionary. Suppose if I write a JSON.dump D and comma file name. File name maybe I will mention here as check.json. Give me a minute. Here you mentioned the file, no? here we mention the file. So if JSON is there, right? I will mention just D only. Both JSON we have done. That is JSON.dumps. Sorry, JSON.dumps. That is why it is showing here, and this is also loads. Okay. So now you can see the data. See, data is present now in this format. The data is now present in this format. Okay, so this is now your JSON string. Okay, now class, this is your JSON string. Okay, similarly, let's suppose you have some data present in JSON format. See, JSON format looks like this. JSON format looks like this in your Python. Okay, let me store this in, let's say, JD maybe. Now, if I want to convert it into back into dictionary, what I can do, I can write here di is equal to JSON.loads. Here you can see class, we are getting, see the difference. Here the data in these codes are present. Okay, that means that is your JSON data. Okay, and here there is no codes present. That means this is your dictionary data. Okay, so that is that about your JSON. Is it clear, class, everyone? Whatever we have covered today? Any doubt in whatever topic we have covered today? Class. That is all for today from my end. Okay, if you have any doubt, please ask.